The expanded gag order in Donald Trump's New York fraud trial is not the only gag order that former president, is currently suffering under. You see, Donald Trump is still fighting the gag order placed upon him by Judge Tanya Chutkan, which was reimposed last Sunday after she had temporarily suspended it after putting it in place because Trump is appealing it. And then on Friday, the appellate court put a hold on the gag order. So the gag order was in place, then it wasn't, then it was, now it's back to not being in place. But that is not the final decision of the appellate court. They said we're going to put a hold on it, so the gag order is currently not in place, but we have not made our official determination. We got to think about this. We got to deliberate. So until we issue the final ruling, no gag order. But the day before, the court came and made this idiotic decision, in my opinion, because when the gag order was temporarily lifted, Donald Trump immediately attacked two different people who were witnesses against him, Bill Barr and Mark Meadows. But either way, his lawyers had argued in court the day before in a filing that Donald Trump's uniquely powerful voice is somehow, quote, central to the American fabric. Let me read you the full context of that statement. Here is what Donald Trump's lawyers filed in court. The district court entered a sweeping viewpoint-based prior restraint on the core political speech of a major presidential candidate based solely on an unconstitutional heckler's veto. The gag order violates the First Amendment rights of President Trump and over 100 million Americans who listen to him. President Trump's uniquely powerful voice has been a fixture of American political discourse for 8 years and central to the American fabric for decades. The prosecution's claim that his core political speech suddenly poses a threat to the administration of justice is baseless. The prosecutors and potential witnesses addressed by President Trump's speech are high-level government officials and public figures, many of whom routinely attack President Trump in their own public statements, media interviews, and books. Well, golly gee, folks, he's been talking politics for 8 years. I've been doing it for over 19, man. Like, get your head in the game, bud. You're lagging, right? Here's the fun part of this. Donald Trump's voice is not essential to the fabric of the United States of America in any way, shape, or form. His uniquely powerful voice. Oh, you mean the voice when he goes out and makes fun of reporters who have disabilities? The voice where he attacks people of color far harsher, usually calling them low IQ individuals? The voice where he makes fun of people's weight, he makes fun of their hair, he makes fun of the clothes that they wear. That voice, that uniquely powerful voice that's nothing more than a middle school bully, is somehow vital to the fabric of the United States. Not to mention the fact that Donald Trump still has his freedom of speech. I mean, I pointed this out in another segment. Nobody is saying he can't speak. The court is legally allowed to prevent witness intimidation. They're allowed to do that. That is not violating his freedom of speech. That is not infringing upon his First Amendment rights. Donald Trump is still allowed to go out there and talk about the trial. He's allowed to talk about quite literally anything else he wants to talk about as long as he's not attacking witnesses in an attempt to intimidate them to not testify against him. That's technically illegal. So if you want to make the argument that Donald Trump is having his First Amendment rights trampled upon, and let's assume for a second that this Court of Appeals is made up of just, baboons who don't know any better, and they take it away permanently, then what you're actually doing, Trump lawyers, is you're opening your client up to be prosecuted for witness intimidation and witness tampering. So maybe you ought to weigh that out a little bit before you make these idiotic arguments. Because if that gag order is lifted and Trump keeps running his stupid mouth, I can promise you, it's going to result in more criminal charges against him. But I guess at the same time, hey, that means more money for you lawyers, right? So maybe that's why you're trying to do it. Because, hey, if we get that gag order lifted and he keeps attacking these witnesses, we'll get to represent him in another trial, which means, hey, an early Christmas for the kids, right? More money for gifts. That's really the only reason I can see why these lawyers are fighting so hard to lift this gag order that, if lifted, again, will probably result in more criminal charges against him. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.